Okay, so I want to talk about Bitcoin in a realistic point of view when it comes to the charts and the structures we're looking at, because right now there is a lot of just information out in the internet that's very, difficult to understand because they're so different from each other, and they're all. I'm going to show you guys what I mean, and they are also, how do you say, trying to influence people to either get out of Bitcoin or get in, and this can be very difficult for someone that's trying to trade Bitcoin or invest in it, and they're learning about it. And every time they look it up, they see articles that have extreme, con, you know, conflicting information from each other. And I'm gonna give my opinions on two of them specifically, and I'm gonna get into the explanation of deep value Bitcoin. Rather, we're in deep value, what that really looks like, and if I even see any signs, and it's all gonna be my opinion, just if there are any signs that the bear market's over and we're going lower, or is there signs that maybe you still want to stick around and potentially profit from it as well. So I'm going to show you guys what I mean. There's this one article: 25% Bitcoin price rally set to follow today's correction if history repeats. A lot of these articles give a lot of information, and you can check it out and make your own hypothesis on it, your own make up your own opinion on it. But the thing is, if history repeats, 25% upside. Let's take a look at it in a moment, right? On the chart. All right, and then analyst predicts last Bitcoin bull market, says price is headed for 30K. And let's take we're also going to take a look at that on the charts here, because we're going to go over those two real quick, and then I'll get into the actual my own analysis on Bitcoin for the short term, and how I'm prepping myself for any future moves. But rather, that's the upside to the downside. But for example, if history repeats and Bitcoin could see another 25% upside, well, you can look at the article and um decide on what makes the most sense for you for the time frame. But we're gonna look at this deep value that I've uh, talked about so much in the past, because this is during this deep value we had a lot of like the ETFs, coming into the market, and we had a whole different you know macro setup for Bitcoin than we had before 2024, um, and a lot of stuff was evolving. So we're just gonna take a look at this, just because to me it makes the most sense, and let's just consider the dip, the very bottom of that uh, moment in time. Bitcoin went up 118%. So 25% could, maybe it can just be a conservative view for them not wanting to be over optimistic in the short term. Maybe to just cover themselves if their article just creates too much FOMO or not. Um, but yeah, over 100% upside. So 25% right now, roughly. I'm not going to get the exact bottom from just from current prices because the article is fairly new. 25% will take us to um, this point, which is over 130K. All right, that's reasonable. But the thing is, are they trying to influence people to get in now or get in later? And if when I look at the chart myself, I'm like, well, if we're really just gonna base fluctuations off of history, if that's exactly what we're doing, then we can just look at what I've been saying in previous video, which is three deep value dips, um, and then an uptrend that breaks previous resistances. Uh, the reason just this point is very significant is because it's the first overall, like, sort of a bigger picture dip that wasn't recovered just right away and actually went into an overall proper correction. The orange fib retracement from the whole move right here. It hit that 0.5, and then it started going much higher. And again, if we're just basing this off of history, well, if we look at this 80K being deep value, because we had three deep value dips below 80K, we have an overall rally that breaks previous resistances. It actually broke the all-time high, so it's a lot more significant. But now we haven't seen a proper correction from the whole move higher. So from the third deep value point to all the way up, we've been if you guys been watching this channel since back then, you know that I've been following the price with this overall retracement area, and we've never seen it get filled whatsoever. We saw it bounce from it pretty well from here, but we never saw the price break into it. So if history is going to repeat itself, then it's, and you strongly believe that, in my opinion, and we still have the possibility to do so, it's probably better just be patient and wait for prices to stabilize, sort of do their thing. I'm going to get into more detail about that in a moment. For history to truly repeat itself, which we can't completely rely on that. And then, we'll be in deep value for this move because, this move broke the all-time high, and this move hasn't seen an overall proper retracement. So this will be that equivalent to the 2024 setup that I just went over. And then from there, at that point, when it's, we'll just say between 90 and 95K, 25% up from there will still bring us into all-time high. So, these articles are so confident. They're so confident in the way they speak that it kind of blurs cautiousness and blurs the fundamental things that create responsible traders, and it starts creating FOMO. But yeah, I just feel like the article's good. It's just it just needs to like chill back a little bit and remind everyone that, hey, yes, history can repeat itself and we see over 20% upside, but the actual structures themselves just need to balance themselves out and create opportunities where big rallies can reset and continue forward by having a proper retracement. And so far, I'm still eyeing this, and I'm gonna get into it in a moment. And then the other article, $30,000. They're basically saying it's over, and we're going down to $30,000, which is an extreme significant drop. But let's just say this, right? The amount, and this is my opinion, but I feel like it's kind of spot on. You guys can give me feedback on it, but if we do have 30K dip, well, does that mean all of the whales, all of the serious Bitcoin investors are going to sell out? Like BlackRock has been buying Bitcoin. I think Fidelity, GameStop recently started buying Bitcoin. But we just have a lot of large, serious institutions that are creating funds for Bitcoin. They're holding a lot of it, and they're acquiring more Bitcoin. And we know Coinbase is, a big leader in that, and they're trying to accumulate Bitcoin. So when it's more scarce, they can be able to sell it for a premium, in my opinion. And then a lot of other exchanges, and of course, you just have a lot of this massive amount of Bitcoin that's being thrown into, and then of course Michael Saylor with Strategy, like they're acquiring a ton of Bitcoin. So it's like if a large amount of Bitcoin in the world is mostly lost due to keys being lost for whatever reason, large institutions just holding onto Bitcoin for the long term, and they don't care what it does. They're just holding onto it, and they're not going to sell for an extremely long time. And then third thing being just individuals that are extremely, strong believers, and they are not feared out very easily. Like a lot of this Bitcoin is being bought up. So in order to see 30K, well, first of all, it's like no rate cuts will ever happen. Like if it's like confirmed, like, oh, we're never gonna have a rate cut, which is obviously not gonna happen because the Fed wants to print more money. It's just how things are, and asset inflation is a thing. So it's just to see 30K Bitcoin. It's like we have to be in a massive apocalypse in the world, and like the world has to be ending for a lot of these serious diamond hands to actually sell, and then like something as simple as like the dollar becoming not completely worthless, but like no rate cut ever, and then of course risk on assets at that point, it would just be not attractive. So and then treasuries would be like the way to go. So it doesn't make sense to me. It really doesn't. So now we're gonna jump into the actual chart itself. So you guys know, recently, we were watching the support. We broke below the support a little bit. We started fluctuating within it, and I said, well, it's absolutely fine to see the price pump up into this into this extension area, which is acting as resistance. And I said, well, if we break into this, it doesn't matter how far into it we stretch, but the point is that the price does not break over this swing high, And if the price doesn't break over the swing high, then we can be still in a corrective move that can eventually bring us down into this area, in my opinion. So exactly that's what happened. The price went up into it. We found resistance. I was saying it's a good idea to potentially maybe start shaving off short term positions if you accumulate it within support. Um, Look at that. We dipped from there, so it was perfect. It was pretty much a perfect call. We're below that swing high, so we still have downward pressure. Now there's another part to it where I mean, at this point we didn't break over it, and I said if we break over this blue area, it opens up halfway to break over this swing high, and at that point we can easily crush all-time highs and go into the green, and that didn't happen. So right now I'm gonna be super simple. I'm gonna keep things simple because it's the only way to go. Right after I say this, so we know that there's somewhat of like a triangle pattern that was forming in Bitcoin. I didn't go over it in yesterday's video. It's gonna be a little sloppy just because I'm just trying to make a point. But like, this is like the triangle pattern, and we broke below it a little bit. We quickly recovered back into it. But like, if there was a lot of short term bullish momentum, and if you guys know me, if you guys been watching for a while, you know that I do believe Bitcoin is gonna be much higher later into this year. I believe we can easily crush all time highs and just at any point, just somewhere trade within the green, and that's what I'm prepping for. But until we have that bullish confirmation that this correction is over, we're still looking for deep value in the purple. So yes, we broke below the ascending support within the triangle, which is we see triangle patterns form in Bitcoin a lot, and then eventually we see a breakout to one direction or the other. But the 120 moving average is still trending lower. We broke below it a little bit. We're not seeing extreme bullish momentum, and at that point, we're below the 120 moving average now, and we can use that as a strong resistance. But to keep things simple, and I told you guys I told you guys this a lot. I'm being very selective with short-term trading because Bitcoin is still trying to decide which way it wants to lean in the short term. And I said, well, I don't care if we come down and break below these swing lows. I don't care if the RSI says one thing over another. I don't care. I'm focused on the where liquidity is at least looking for break of structures. So I said I'm not really interested in taking a short position. I'm mostly interested in shorts right now because we don't have bullish confirmation. So the moment we break below this swing low, that's when I'm looking to actually start acquiring shorts. Because if we break below this one, it will obviously say that, hey, we couldn't hold a higher. So far we have a higher low, which is very bullish. But the moment we break below this, it ruins the potential of the price coming down, forming a higher low. Even though it formed a lower high, it still has the opportunity to crush it. But if the price breaks below this one, it means that there's a lot of bearish money just, holding on to Bitcoin and not letting it go higher. At this point, I'm looking for shorts because if we break below 102,800, I truly believe that the swing low will not be able to hold the bearish momentum that will be created, in my opinion, and then we can easily start trading within the purple. And the moment we trade in the purple, it's pretty much repeating the 2024 thing where the purple right now, it's the orange is the equivalent, but it'll be coming into the overall retracement to find support before the price pumps up higher, like crazy, and forms these higher highs and higher lows and just creates a bunch of bullish momentum. So that's just how I'm treating this area because, if we break below this area, we still have 85. We still have like between like really like 83 to 85K potentially because we have consolidation within this area, some imbalances. So I could even say it can come down to there, but I don't really care. Like if we have bullish momentum overall, because we made a new all-time high, we have an overall correction down, we don't break below the 80s, but we try to hold above 85 or 89K right here. And then, we find support somewhere within the purple. To me, I'm going to be accumulating like crazy within the purple because at this point, it'll create the overall higher low setup support to push Bitcoin much higher. And that's really what I'm looking for right now because in order for us to invalidate this area, it's quite simple, right? Like right now, yeah, we came down quite a bit. We didn't hit this swing low, but what we can do is simply just keep an eye and super simple, just fib structures. Like we have a retracement within this area right here, right? So this retracement means that, hey, it allows the price to factor in this whole move down by balancing itself out, going into resistance, breaking over the 120 just a little bit, flush out some bulls, put some bears back in, and then finally come down to break this significant swing low to open the pathway up to purple. So the price can easily go a little bit higher from here, but like there's no point on being hopeful. There's no point on just, forcing trades. Like I am personally just gonna wait for my buy signal to buy some shorts, which is this swing low. If we break below the swing low, I'm buying and I'm looking into the purple so I can make some profit. And until then, like we got to keep an eye on this retracement because it's as simple as understanding the health nature of each of these structures. And like if the price, is going to continue going down, well, we can find it going down now, or it can go a little bit higher, but not breaking over 107K. Instead, finding a top below 107K resistance, and then we come down. Like this can happen at any point. Like we had resistance here, we had resistance here. We can easily see it here because we don't have bullish confirmation. And the moment, if there is going to be bullish confirmation, and I'm not going to get into it too much because we just don't have it. And when we have it, I will explain it to you guys. But it'll be as simple as, the price can easily go up higher. It hasn't topped out the RSI on this little rally. It doesn't have to, but it can easily keep trending higher into this area. If it breaks over 107K, then we're looking at retesting this blue. And I mean, at that point, if we retest the blue and go all the way up to 109.8K, we break this swing high, and that will create more bullish momentum to, push the price even higher. And if that happens, let's say we bottom right there, right? And we're holding structures going higher, we're fluctuating higher, we break the swing high. At that point, we're just following the price for any short-term weakness where it can come down and have a retracement. And then at that point, the retracement is acting very similar to like this overall retracement, where it's just trying to find a higher low to continue building bullish momentum and to go up higher and to finally start trading into this green area. And then everyone that's buying Bitcoin would just like, make a ton of money. But here's the thing. Even though right now we don't have bullish confirmation, so none of that matters. The thing is that we can find resistance at any point. If we do, we can start coming down lower. But the thing is, if you are, just in my opinion, if you are someone that is looking to just hold on to Bitcoin throughout the bull market, like we're again below 110K, it doesn't matter. Like if you're accumulating 105K, 104, 106K, like it doesn't matter. You have the time horizon to hold on to it, as we progress through 2025. And I think, if, eventually we get a rate cut, which will probably happen around fall probably, and we just have progression on tariffs continuing to happen, like a lot of this is going to give so much backwind to Bitcoin, and we can easily go much, much higher, besides the scarcity and supply and demand of Bitcoin. But the thing is, like, you can start, if you have that time horizon, like there's nothing wrong with accumulating now. There's nothing wrong with DCAing and potentially coming to the purple, continue to DCA, and then, you have a really good position to just take advantage of higher prices if you believe in Bitcoin. But as of right now, it's simple. Like I'm being super selective on taking short-term trades because I'm not a hopeful trader. I'm waiting for my signals to blink, and once they do, then I'll take action. And as of right now, what I'm looking at is this retracement. If we can hold within this retracement, find resistance, and start going down lower again, then this area will become much more likely. But this area is still more likely than going up into the green because we just don't have bullish momentum. Like if we did have bullish momentum, and like if you guys were following the this price higher with a retracement, because these tools are magical in my opinion. They're super simple to use, and like if it were to happen, we would have seen the price not fall below 105K. The price would have not fallen below 105K if there was that short-term strong bullish momentum. I believe there's strong bullish momentum overall for the year, but in the short term, we would have not broken below 105K. So at that point, it's like, what's the point of like rushing trades, forcing trades, and getting yourself into like randomness? Why not just have your signals that tell you, where you want to get in, where you want to get out? how you want to manage your trade, and it's as simple as that. So right now we're trying to see if the RSI can max out um, at one point below 107K, see if we can find resistance, and then we'll go on from there. But regardless, whatever the price does, I'll keep you guys updated, and I'll let you guys know what I'm doing. But as of right now, I'm waiting, and I'm just keeping an eye on this to determine, um, you know, where my attention should really be. So yeah, hopefully you guys enjoyed this video, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.